Hey y'all, welcome back to the Be Like D channel. It's your girl D coming back with another review of Love and Marriage Huntsville season 3 episode 14. And another good episode, y'all. I mean, Love and Marriage Huntsville is giving, okay? It's the gift that keeps on giving because we just got so much to talk about, all right? Let's get into it. Okay, so we already start off with where we left off last week with Tisha in the Dr. Francis office. And he asked her, how does she know in her mind without a doubt that what he's saying is the truth? And she says, well, I'm a smart girl, so I do my research, and then I sit down with a person and I ask them, and then I believe what they're telling me. What? What, Tisha? This is where that smart girl was a little stretch, okay? So how do you confirm it's a lie? Can you ask her that, please? How can you confirm that it's a lie? When you look into his eyes, can you tell it's a lie? Okay, Tisha. Could have had a better answer than that. Then he asked her, so he has never deceived you in any way? And she says, no, not to my knowledge. I'm like, girl, good you add that little piece on there, because if you would have just said no, I'd been like, girl. Oh, Dr. Francis, please continue to get her together. Tisha, please continue to go to Dr. Francis, because this is a mess, okay? This is a mess. So now Dr. Francis asks her, how does she deal with the tension between the way he wants her to be loved, the way he expresses love, and the way she needs to be loved? And then she says, well, I think I'm adjusting to the way that he does. I'm like, yeah, okay, so you're just accepting that you're not gonna get what you need from him. So now you're just gonna adjust, like she said last time. She adjusted her expectations of him. Girl, no. Especially not after no damn 15 years, girl. But then, when she says that, Dr. Francis is like, Dr. Francis is like, he getting up out his chair, walking and talking. I'm like, you can't sit down and contain all of this foolishness, can you? Okay, so then Tisha lets us know that early on in their relationship, that he told her that she was too independent. I'm like, did he? She said that he wanted her to be dependent on him more, basically, and that she started opening up and changing for him, basically, is what she said. And then Dr. Francis said, well, do you know what it is that's in him that makes him want you to be dependent on him for everything instead of being independent? And then she says, no. And he says, well, maybe it's out of fear of losing you. Maybe it's because he wants you to be so dependent on him that you can't go nowhere. And I'm like, exactly, that's what it is. He don't want her to do nothing. That's why he want her to be in the house, take care of the kids. That's her role. He don't want her to do nothing else, even though when you met this woman, she had goals and ambitions. I don't care, it's been 15 years in, guess what? You ain't gotta spend another 15 with this man. I'm gonna let you know that right now. You can always get up and go, because what God said go, not playing. Then he asks her, does he depend on her for anything? And then she says, I don't know, maybe sexual needs. And then she's like, I don't know anything else. Tisha, you think you can only provide sex for your husband? After 15 years, you only provide sex for him? That's what he depends on you for? Really? That's sad. That's sad. And then Dr. Francis caught that shit, and he was just like, if he could shake a bitch, because he said, Tisha, I think he said, you are a good person. You need to stop invalidating yourself, especially for him. You need to stop invalidating yourself, even though it's little things. You keep invalidating yourself for him and stuff like that. And I'm like, exactly. Please, Dr. Francis, help her. Dr. Francis facing this whole scene, he is like, so now we're over to Mel and Martell, and this time they are with their kids, and they went to the park or whatever, and they doing the homework that the co-parenting coach told them to all be out together, and they got some like cards. Okay, so one of the questions were to the kids that what is the situation they wish they could change right now or something like that. And Martell Jr. just goes straight into I want y'all to get back together so I don't have to cry anymore. This whole scene was like kind of cringe, but it was so, you know, I think needed, because I don't think the kids are prompted to say anything. So the kids just saying what they want to say, what's on their mind, and it's giving us the reality of divorce, of people that have to work together even though out there are divorced now. The oldest daughter, she asks if they are thinking about dating anybody else or getting remarried or whatever. And they say no, and then she's like, oh, I'm so happy, right? And they're like, why are you so happy? And she said, because she don't want a step parent. She don't, not on either part. She don't want a step mama and she don't want a step daddy. And then Mel was like, well, maybe it won't be called step parent. Maybe it'll be like a bonus mom and a bonus dad. And then she's still like, no, we good. And then the youngest little girl, well, the second to youngest little girl, she says that she don't want no step parent because she don't want nobody kissing her on the cheek. I was like, what? So even when this other family member, she just like, don't kiss me. That was kind of cute. But then the oldest daughter says that she don't want to even have to try to explain that. I'm like, damn. She don't even want to explain that later on in life when she with her friends and a daddy or mama come up with somebody else that ain't mama or daddy, and they gotta explain who that person is. And then Martell was like, no, we're not gonna worry about that until we get to that point. And I'm like, okay, that was good. Don't worry about that until we get there. Then young Martell also says that ain't nobody gonna be getting married, because if somebody else try to get married or something, he gonna tear that shit down. I said, damn. Okay. I mean, it was cute because they really like trying to fight for their parents to be back together. But then it's also sad because Martell and Mel looking at each other like, that's not finna happen. Well, I think Martell think on his end it might happen, but Mel looking like, nah, we good over here. But it's heartbreaking to see the kids have to deal with that. And then the fact that they still don't know they have another sibling. Like, when that shit hit the fan, that's gonna be sad. And please don't show us on TV. So then Martell says, I know we're all getting adjusted to, you know, mommy and daddy not being together. So are you guys happy? Are y'all happy? And then the kids talking about how no, well, not they didn't say no, but basically that they rather both of their parents being in the same house and that it's easier that way. And then Mel says, well, why don't we think about it this way? Don't you think that mommy is happier now? Do you think mommy is happier now than before? And then they're just like, and then the little one was like, I just like when y'all not fussing. I'm like, damn. Kids just put you on blast. Well, then Martell Jr. is like, well, maybe y'all should just talk on the phone and just slowly get back together, da 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 da. And then Mel was like, where you get that from? And she was like, I just think of things and say it. And she was like, okay, you are a good thinker. So then the oldest daughter asked them both if they got a secret crush. And then Martell was like, yeah, I got a secret crush. And y'all want to know? I mean, I can keep it a secret. Y'all want to know? It was cute, being cute with the kids. Look, Martell, you kind of redeeming over there with the kids. But anyway, he was like, y'all my secret crush. And then the little one like, well, you know who your secret crush is? He's like, how you know? He's like, I was seeing you in the elevator at a hotel. I'm like, no. Then Martell shocked. He's like, what? You seen me at the elevator hotel? Where was you? And then she like, with mommy. And then Mel was like, well, she not lying. I'm like, Mel, why does little girl know that? Like, now I gotta be on Martell's side. What the hell? Why did she see him in the elevator with some other woman? So that's a little sus. That's a little sus, Mel. That was kind of messed up. And then they dismiss the kids, and then they gonna have a little one-on-one. So in Martell's confessional, he says that, you know, he feel like certain things the kids shouldn't know, and it's almost like protect me for the kids, because then that'll protect them. I'm like, okay, this is where he's half right. Because yes, them kids don't need to know a lot of the stuff, they don't need to know a lot of the details, but nigga, you ain't finna get no protection around here, not the way you be acting. Bye. Okay, so they send the kids off to go play, and they talk, and then Martell was like, well, I think the kids should know certain things, and then Mel was like, well, they heard things from both sides, and then he was like, well, I think from now on it should be less. And I'm like, this whole scene, I can tell what Martell is like thinking, because after the kids got up and left and he was looking off, he looked like he was worried about that his daughter saw him in the elevator with some other chick. Like, that was reality right there in his face. But anyways, so then he like, oh, how you doing, man? Everything good with you? And then she's like, I'm good. And then Mel wanted to know when he's gonna talk to the kids about his 5th child. And then he like, I don't know if this gonna be when is the good time. And then she says that she wants to be there, so because they don't know how the kids gonna react, and that she also wants them to see that she's okay, just like how the co-parenting therapist said. And he says that he don't know. He's like, well, how was it with you? Because you didn't meet your other siblings until you were what? And then she was like 18. But then she said, but your scandal is different because it's more in the public. You got, and then they can go on YouTube, they can watch the show basically, and everything. So it's more likely that someone's gonna tell them, or they're gonna find out before he tells them. So you should tell them sooner than later. And then he says he still don't know how he want to do it, and he don't even know if he want Mel there. And I think he don't want Mel there because he can spin the story however he needs to spin it, right? But them kids are smart. They gonna add it up. Okay, she the same age as, how you got another baby when y'all just got divorced? Huh? And I'm sure they already know about the cheating, so it's gonna be real hard. And like, he really gotta sit there and break his kids' hearts. That's gonna be hard, Martell. Look, I feel bad for you, but I don't, because you did this to yourself. You didn't take into account all the lives that'll be affected by your dumbass decisions. So then they get on talking about Mel meeting up with Chris, and then Martell was like, be nice when you're around other people talking about me. I'm like, boy, shut up. She can be whatever she wanna be. You gonna be whatever you gonna be, okay? But anyway, she said it's crazy how he gonna defend Marceau about him doing the commercial side of the 47 acres, but he went back her as the mother of his kids. And then he was like, no, it's not that. And she was like, no, you was all like, you don't even build a house before. You didn't even build a house before. And he was like, no, it's not like that. I didn't think you was taking that seriously. And then she immediately gets kind of triggered, right? Because she's like, no, you know, Mel was ready to get into it a little bit. But I think it's every time Martell tries to pretend as if she can't handle all of her shit, she loses her shit. But anyway, so once he gets to saying that, I didn't think you was gonna be taking it that seriously, and she was like, why wouldn't I? Huh? He was like, well, you doing your music and you're doing all this other stuff. I didn't think you was there. The frustration he had because she going in, he like, and that's how it is dealing with you, Martell, okay? So I ain't too mad at Mel because it was a return serve, okay? But you handled yourself well, Martell. You didn't get out of line. It was just like, okay. And then he was like, are we done? I think we accomplished what we needed to accomplish. And they're like, yeah, we sure did. But yeah, for once, Martell took a step back. And maybe it was because of the kids was there. That's what I do notice, that when it's scenes with them and the kids, they don't get too crazy. Okay, so now we're over to Marceau and Tisha. And Tisha is coming to, I guess, the office where Marceau is. And already. Y'all see, y'all body language is off, okay? Y'all don't greet, y'all don't hug each other, y'all don't do nothing. She just stand off to the other side of the room, and he just like, you look pretty. And she's like, oh, thanks. Like, y'all so dry, okay? Dry. And then Tisha wants to talk to Marcel and see how he's feeling. And he's like, disconnected. I'm like, who is Marcel talking to? Because who feeding you these lines? Because I don't feel like you'll be telling us this. You ain't gonna be telling us this. I don't even feel like this is stuff you would say. But anyway, he's like, disconnected. And she's like, oh, from what? From life? From me? Oh, well, I've been telling you, you've been disconnected from me for a while now. He's like, no. And then he says that, you know, it's basically the pandemic, everything last year. We was finishing the hotels, trying to get 2 businesses off the ground, and then the world shut down, and blah blah blah. And so it was a lot. It was a lot. I wasn't my best. Were you ever? But anyway, and then she says that she feel like they both was feeling things during this whole pandemic thing. So, but they both didn't talk about it. So that's why she feel like they, you know, should go to therapy or whatever. Then she tells him that she had a solo session with Dr. Francis. And as soon as she said that, Marcel was looking like, oh. Even though he didn't fully look like that, I seen it in his eyes. I seen it in his whole posture. He was just like, this shit, well, I'm finna have to come back now. So she tells him that she went to see Dr. Francis for a solo session, and one of the questions that he asked is, who are you outside of being a wife and a mother? And then she was like, and that had her thinking like, who am I? And instead of being a husband and jumping in and telling her, you are this, you are that, you are blah blah blah, blah, running down the list, no, he just looking like, how she don't pick up on how he be looking, okay? Because his face tell it all too, and his body language. But anyway, so then she was like, who is she outside of a wife and a mother, and that she needs to, you know, validate herself, and that she is a person that has goals and ambitions and stuff like that. So then here goes Marcel trying to mind fuck her, right? Marcel says, well, part of that is true and part of that is not true. And then Tisha says, so you believe that after I become a mom, I pretty much gave up anything else I want to do? He don't even answer that question. He just says, seems like what Dr. Francis has told you is that you've become a wife and a mother, and you had to give up the life that you wanted. I'm like, yeah, that's what he said. Facts. And that's what you wanted too, so don't even try to play it off. So then he says, maybe you're not just the wife and a mother. Maybe you're a good wife and a great mother. Maybe you're a good friend, and maybe you're a great entrepreneur. Maybe you're a good daughter and a great blah, blah, blah. He kept going from good to great, but it was BS, because he kept saying maybe. Maybe you're a good mother. Maybe you're a great mother. Maybe you're a great daughter. Maybe. What the fuck? No, tell her directly. You don't ever, why he ain't direct with her. He ain't even direct with his damn self, apparently. But anyway, maybe you're a great mom. And she took that as he was complimenting her. No, it was not, because you're saying maybe. You're not saying you are a good mother. You are, like how he told her, Dr. Francis told her, you're a good person, Tisha. That's what you need to be saying to her. But no, you're saying, well, maybe you're a great mother. Well, maybe you're an entrepreneur. Well, maybe you're this. Or maybe you're that. Maybe you're a shitty ass husband that needs to figure out how to be a husband, okay? Then in Marcel's confessional, he says that therapy is great, but it's only, basically he says it's only good when the therapist knows the goals. What is the goals, Marcel? Shut the hell up. Like, he's so full of shit. Like, I can't take it, okay? So when the therapist knows the goals, but if you go to therapy and you come out more confused than you did going in, he don't feel like that's therapy. And then I'm glad Tisha stood up for herself somewhat. She was just like, so you think I came out confused? And then she was like, no, I think they get your wheels turning to think about things that you ain't thought about before. And I'm like, exactly. Girl, I was saying the same thing while I was watching. I'm like, you idiot, you don't know how therapy works. It's supposed to open your mind, have you thinking, figuring things out, putting two and two together. You don't want her to do that. That's why you're trying to tell her she just came out confused. So then she says that Dr. Francis thinks that she's protective of Marcel. And then Marcel says, well, as I see it, people always think I look like a liar. I'm like, yes. You look like a liar, you are a liar, you're somewhat a master manipulator because you have a way with words, and then you got a dumb wife that's gonna believe everything you say. Apparently, if she just look you in the eyes, she know you telling the truth. So he's like, so he's seen something on social media was like, I don't believe it about Marcel if I see a DNA test. And then he like, how you gonna have a DNA test without seeing a baby? Blah, 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 blah. And then he was like, if I was able to hide 2 kids from you and this long, blah, blah, blah. And then she like, so she was like, you'll be a good one. A good one. He's like, yeah, then I deserve my credit. I'm like, this is what he do. He tell you the truth, but he pretend like he's joking. That's what it is. Girl, don't trust this man. He do that a lot. He say a lot of truth and then play it off like it's just a joke. I was joking, come on. And then when it's proven to be true, what he gonna do? Well, I didn't lie. I didn't lie. Cause he lying by omission. That's what his whole thing is. I'm sure he's a lot of stuff he ain't telling you, girl. But like how she also said, you'll be dead. You'll be dead if you have another child. But then he says, well, see, it's about trust. That's what it is. It's about trust. Because truth or not, my story has not changed. Really, Marcel? Truth or not, my story has not changed. Tisha, like, it's right here. It's in your face. What are you saying that we not saying? Girl, you holding on to hope, ain't you? But anyway, then she was like, well, I believe you, babe. It was not believable. When she said that, I was like, you don't. You don't. And you trying to get Dr. Francis to convince you that it's you tripping. But no, you see the truth and he got you tripping. Okay, that's what that is. He got you thinking that you a fool, but you know, it's right there in your face, girl. Now we're over to Tiffany and Lewis, and they're having their 1 year anniversary. So they showing us these pictures of, remember it was a surprise wedding. She just surprised them at the baseball field. We getting married, because she been wanting to get married apparently. He been waiting, and she finally pulled the trigger and was like, let's have a surprise wedding. These wedding photos are horrible. Horrible. She looking all pretty, she in her dress, and this man is in a damn polo. A polo and shorts. And then it's that polo that look like it's a dry fit or something. So it's kind of shiny, and then it got his little W embroidered in it, and at the back I guess it say "We love." Girl, that's horrible. You could at least have that man a suit ready, okay? But I guess it was romantic for him, I guess. But anyway, so this was a cute little scene, everybody playing baseball. It was interesting to see Martell just sitting there. He looking like he deep in thought and stuff, right? Just like earlier in the episode. So then, look, this part was petty, but I was feeling it though. It was a good petty for me. So then, Mel says, well, you know, it's almost close to what our anniversary would have been on July 13th. And then, you know, we would have made 13 years on the 13th. And, you know, he really over there feeling it. He really over there feeling it. He feeling it in his soul, you know. So I can see it all over his face. I said, ooh, good read, girl. Good read. It was a good level of petty for me. And so then, of course, after Mel said that, he like, you know, in his head. Then he was like, well, see, my thing is, I divorced Mel. And then Destiny with the loudest, like you a damn lie. And then Tiffany had, like, if y'all looked over at that scene, Tiffany was like, she looks over to where you know where the camera's at, and she like, can't believe it came out this man's mouth. So he said he the one said he divorced Melody. She ain't divorced him. He said the way he see it is like what Kanye said. He told Kim he wanted a divorce, and he gave her X amount of time to go and file it herself so she could save face. Boy, buys. You was waiting to use that because you would have been said that shit, okay? He would have been said that. And then Mel like, what? Hold up. And I like how Lewis jumped in, was like, and what does that matter? And why does that matter? If you're a man, why does that matter? And he's like, because he does. A mess, Martell, a mess. And so Martell says that he's the one said he wanted a divorce, that he didn't gonna look up to me. Yeah, that was back when you got mad and you took the kids down south. And then she like, when, what? He says, yeah, so when she filed for divorce and then she blasted it all over social media, like, I filed for divorce, I was like, that's funny because I don't want to say I wanted a divorce. And then she was like, when, what post? I don't remember doing that. And he was like, oh, so you remember everything, but you don't remember that? I'm like, okay, you had her there, okay? So then she was just like, wait, hold on, wait, now let me get this shit straight, okay? And then she says that, you know, of course, out of all the time they was in the last 3 years that they was going through this whole process, that of course she said, I want a divorce, and of course he mentioned a few times that he wanted a divorce. But no, she was the one that said, the one, you know, that went ahead and filed. And then she was like, when she was getting mad, she was like, can we cut back to season 1 at this moment? And then boom, they cut to season 1 when he grabbed her. He's like, are you gonna divorce me? Are you trying to divorce me? And then she was like, I don't know, what do I do? And then he was like, well, I might do it myself. I might initiate it. And then she was like, well, do it. I would love to see you do it. And she hit him with that, bye, Martell, hold. And he was like, all right. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh, good scene. I love how she was like, insert season 1 clip, boom, and then there you go. So that's a hot ass mess. Martell, shut the hell up, okay? Yeah, you probably said I want a divorce, but your ass wasn't gonna do it. And the whole point of that saying that was just trying to say that you keep trying to say you let her go, but that's because, just like he said in his confessional before all of this, he getting tired of people feeling bad for him and being condescending and stuff like that. Yeah, nigga, because you blew up your whole life, okay? So then Mel saying is like, of course, in the course of their marriage, you know, somebody said they want a divorce, but it's different when you saying that out of anger and when you actually mean it. And she was like, and what she meant, she meant that when she did it because she filed for divorce. She was like, but what I'm saying right now, he didn't want to get divorced. She basically said, this don't look like a man that wants to be divorced, does it? And then they still going back and forth. Here go Tiffany, oh, we're celebrating love. Girl, ain't nobody listening to you. Lewis says that as men, we don't have to post things and stuff like that. And then Martell says, yeah, so and neither does they, neither do them. And then he's like, but we can't control what they do. And he's like, well, they can't control what we do. And that, what he said, and then he said that we can't respond to everything. And then Martell's like, they can't respond to everything too. I was like, Martell, and Lou was getting frustrated in this situation. Like, dude, chill the hell out, basically. And then here come Martell in his confessional. Was like, well, I know that women are ruling the world right now, but it feels like it shouldn't be a double standard between men and women. And it's basically gonna be like, I'm not finna let you handle me any kind of way. And he's like, because we are kings, and you know, that's how we're gonna take back over. Are you serious? So you're saying the double standard of men and women is that women can say whatever they want, and then the man is not supposed to respond. Let's break that down. So I sort of get that, just by a little bit. But just like I've been saying, don't sit there and argue with no woman. Why would you want to sit there and go back and forth with her? If you know you right, why are you going back and forth arguing with her? And then there he go again, accusing Mel of cheating. But then his dumb ass gonna say she was in the hotel for how long, he didn't know, but he just couldn't prove it. If you couldn't prove it, he wasn't cheating. She wasn't cheating. Well, look, not true, but if you couldn't prove it, you can't just say she was cheating. Just like how she proved yours, that's cheating. That baby, that's proof of you cheating. And so Martell and Mel still going back and forth. And I like how Tiffany and Lewis was able to grab him back and kind of like try to calm the situation down. And they start basically speaking about how life after divorce, you still kind of trying to, you know, work things out. Y'all both just got to work on each other and stuff like that. And then here come Mel and it's like, well, see, it's really hard when you have an immature person, because I want me and Martell to be good. And Martell was saying just the stuff that Mel posts on social media alone doesn't show that she want to be over or whatever. It was a lot of talking going on right there. And then Destiny was hopping in. Destiny was trying to defend Mel. And then they split it up. It was like, all right, let's go outside, guys. Let's just go outside, break it up. I was like, oh, good. So while the guys outside, they talking, and then Martell gonna say that he don't know what it is. He was like, when they hit the crib or he go to her house or whatever, they don't have this animosity. They don't have these, you know, exchanges. But when I guess when they get down in public and they get the reminiscing, he bring up some things. And then he gonna say, I just feel like it's certain things women shouldn't do, and there's certain things men shouldn't do. And then they all like, yeah, that's cool, but that's not reality. Yeah, that'd be nice. In a perfect world, that would be right, but it's not. So basically, shut the hell up. Don't sit there arguing with women, okay? It's not gonna happen. She gonna keep talking, and if she keep talking, you gonna keep talking, and it's never ending. Just kill it, dead, done, move on. And then the ladies are talking, and then they Kimmy like it's a way to get what y'all need to say out without it going so far. And then she was like, and then Mel was like, well, it's just, you know, I get triggered. And then here come Destiny was like, well, in therapy, I learned that it's good to know your triggers, but you have to be in control of your triggers yourself. And then Mel was like, well, I'm trying not to just walk out and leave. I mean, can I do that? Can I walk out and leave? And they like, no, don't do that. But you know, you gotta be in control of yourself, basically. And she really had no response for that. And now the funny part is when Tisha and Marcel get there. So then they see all the, you know, they all split up. So then Marcel go outside. And then Lewis was like, and then he had a smirk on his face too while he was doing it. I'm like, he did. Did anybody catch that when the whole time Marcel was talking? Anytime he throws off stuff, he got a smirk on his face because he just knows it's bullshit. He knows it's bullshit. So then, and then Marcel was like, did he Martell it? Martell it. And then Lewis was like, that's exactly what he did. He absolutely Martelled it. It's like, we told you, don't be martold in the situation. Don't martole the situation. And then he said he had fun with it now. He was smiling. And they all laughing. And then Marcel was like, he was just sitting in the corner. Martell him, go ready to Martell it, ready to Martell it. And then he bust out and Martell it. I'm like, that's exactly what he do. Martell, you a self-sabotager. You need to figure out why. But anyway, that was funny. And then, of course, they go back to the ladies. And then Tisha trying to tell Kimmy and them that, you know, everybody responded to the text of the Destiny phrase except for Kimmy and Tiffany. And then Kimmy was kind of mad because she was on that text thread with all of them. And she said, well, why don't you just call me like you usually do? And basically she was saying it's no reason for her to tell her that stuff because she should know that she already gonna do it. So that's Kimmy's problem with all of that. And I'm like, okay, but it's kind of still like, miscommunication here, because then Tisha's like, well, why didn't you just call me and say you was mad that you was on the text with them? And then it was kind of petty. So I was just like, okay, okay, Kimmy, you being petty right now, because she usually can look past a lot of this crap. But then Tisha did bring this shit up in front of everybody. But then I don't think Tisha thinking it through when she's saying that, when she say this stuff in front of everybody. Like, I guess she thinking they all friends or something, or maybe she doing it intentionally. But you obviously bringing some shit up and saying you got a problem in front of the group to your sister, it's gonna be a problem. So then Tisha said that she didn't think it was gonna be an issue. She didn't text her. Then she turns to Kim and she says, why you didn't say anything? And she's like, well, why didn't you call me? And she's like, so you gonna answer my question with a question? And then Tisha was like, so that's where we at now? And then Kim was like, no, I'm gonna answer your question, but I'm for real. Why didn't you call me like you usually do? And then she was like, well, obviously since I sent the text, that mean I couldn't call you. And then Kim was like, no, you sent the text before to the group and then called me right after. And then Tisha was like, well, you don't call me, I always call you, and that's why I stopped calling you. And then she said she noticed that when she stopped calling Kimmy, that Kimmy never calls her. And she said, so I'm at the point where I treat everybody how they treat me. So I'm like, okay, I get that, Tisha, right? You notice that you the one always reaching out. But then Kimmy says that it's always been that way. It's been that way for a long time, because she's not a big person that, you know, goes around and calls and stuff like that. So I'm like, okay, I get that too. But wouldn't, after you noticed that Tisha wasn't calling you, that you would call her? But I'm just gonna say that, you know. That was interesting. But I get both sides, because Tisha's like, no, if you're not gonna be calling me, what I'm calling you for? But then also Kimmy is like, well, I mean, it's always been like that, so I thought that's just what it was. But now she's saying that since they have an issue now, this is why Tisha's trying to treat her differently, and she noticing. And then all the ladies trying to hop in and help. Their commentary was a little funny here and there, but then they're trying to hop in and help. But then Tisha is getting mad, and Tisha's like, well, I'm talking to Kimmy. It's by me and Kimmy right now. And then Tiffany in her confessional was like, Tisha don't make no sense right now. She calls Kimmy out in front of all of us, but don't want any of us to jump in and respond or whatever. I'm like, true. Tisha says that apparently Kimmy been planning some event and ain't been inviting her to. And then she's like, what event? What are you talking about? And then she was like, nothing. I ain't playing nothing. And then Tisha's like, oh, well, if she says it's nothing, if you say it's nothing, then it's nothing. And she's like, what are you talking about, though? Why would you throw that out? And then Tisha's like, well, if you said it's nothing. I'm like, girl, they all trying to drag it out of her to say what she's talking about, but she just still not saying it. I'm like, oh, Tisha, come on. Like, Dr. Francis. Dr. Francis, I need you to do a friend therapy. All right, so that was the end of Love and Marriage Huntsville Season 3, Episode 14. This episode was good. They had a lot to talk about. Anyway, so y'all drop down in the comments. Let me know what y'all think about the episode, what y'all may have seen that I might not have seen, and tell me what y'all thoughts of everything anyway. So remember to like, comment, and subscribe to the Be Like Dee channel, okay?